Okay, I would come on, but I am so tired, y'all. My had a baby, so we've been in and out all week, and I had my grandbaby, so I look a mess. Um, but yeah, what's working for me is um payments. My students, I haven't had an issue with my students making their payments. And what I did was put out some payment plans when they start during orientation, and I'll go over those different payment plans, and I give them a certain date that is due. And once that date hits, all of my students pay. And the way I keep them paying, and I know this might sound kind of harsh, but I tell them if you can't make your payments, you can't sit in class, because you're making a commitment when you sign your contract that you're going to pay. And I stress that in the orientation so that they won't come in thinking they can just pay whenever. When I'm doing the financial part in the orientation, I really stress that they make their payments on time and hold them responsible for that. So I really hadn't had any issues with my students making their payments. And I will say what's working for me also, if you're not connected with your vocational rehab in your area, and I just opened in July, and I have like 3 students on vocational rehab, and they actually will pay for everything for those students. So yeah, payment plans are working for me. Now, if anybody's out there that has some good suggestion about attendance, that may be one issue for me. Just trying to, most of my students are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And so attendance is my biggest issue that I have, even though I try to be a little strict on it, but still it's like they don't care. I mean, they feel like, well, I can make this up if I got my excuse, and it don't really matter. So if anybody has some good ideas about attendance, even though I'm rewarding or I do stuff to try to keep them engaged, to make them come, some students just miss a lot of school. I mean, and that's everybody I talk to around here is having a problem with this age group attending school. And I don't want to take up all the time, but
I mean, you can share whatever, Savannah, because I mean, you've done a lot. You've come a long way. You've accomplished a lot in a short period of time. So anything else you want to share with them, you can. Can you tell them what you were doing before you opened your school? Give them a little backstory.
Yes, I was working at a community. Well, I worked at all the schools pretty much around here, and I was working at a community college in my area, and I worked there for 4.5 years. And my students, I had a 100% pass rate, 100% placement rate, 100%, attendance, 100%. What else is it? Pass, placement. And there's one more, I can't remember. Licensure. Yes, 100% licensure rate. And I just felt like, since I've been in this field, I knew that the Lord wanted me to open my own school. So opening my school is not, getting it open wasn't a question, Lord, did I hear from you or not? Except for when he told me to open it in the middle of a pandemic, and so I ran across Eugene, and of course, with the help of you and your team, and I joined the Gold program. It's really been a blessing and a help. And I know I blow your phone up probably even more now that I'm here, because I just want to make sure I'm doing everything right with the school. So my records, I try to keep straight. I try to stay up on my attendance. I do a lot with my students. We have a lot of projects that we do in our community. Oh yeah, I guess this is a win right here. In our community, I had one of our aldermen came in, and he brought a guy to get his hair cut. And so what happened with that is he put it out on our community page. And so that really spread it. And then the high school invited us out to put tinsels in. And that's one of the group picture you see there, is when we were at the high school putting in tinsels for their fundraiser. And so we got our name out out there. So they call us when they want us to come and do different things with the high school. And now the nursing home is calling us and asking us to come do manicures and pedicures for their patients. So the word is really, really getting out about the school and everything. And I had parents to donate to my food pantry. I created a food pantry for the students because, you know, sometimes because they're paying out of pocket when you first starting, students don't have money. And so they would just go to, you know, wouldn't go to lunch because they didn't have any money to go. So I just started a food pantry to help them. Yeah, I gave them a little Christmas dinner and we all did a little potluck. And they really appreciate that when you do little things like that, because you just never know where their next meal coming from. You know, they come to school hungry. So I try to keep something in the fridge there for them. But at the same time, I want them to realize that this is college. And so I try to hold them responsible for everything they do. And you see, they're doing really good with their work. Really good work. We stay busy. Our clinic floor is pretty busy. And I just had 2 new students to sign up. I got 1 more starting in February. So I'm at 15 students. I'll be at 15 students. And my goal when I first opened was 5, because, you know, I just really didn't know how it was going to go when you first opened. And so I really went above that. The Lord really just took me above that number 5. So I don't want to take up anybody else's time that may have something to say, but it's going really, really good. And I'm glad I made that move.
Anything from where you are now, do you have any regrets on anything, or something you glad you did, or something you should have did or didn't do, or whatever?
No, I don't have any regrets. Oh, well, yes, I do. The only regret I have is not joining the gold program first. So, you know, could have saved me some paperwork. But now I am in the gold program. Been in the gold program for a while. But other than that, I really can't think of anything right now that I regret. It is hard work. I don't want anybody to think because you leave your salon, you're not going to have, it's going to be easy breezy. I think I work harder in the school than I did in my salon, but that's because I'm so dedicated to what I do. And I think this way, once I do get accredited, I'll be able to hire another instructor because I'm doing everything by myself right now. And I'll be able to hire an instructor and take some of the load off of me. But I think I do have a student instructor that's be starting with me really soon. And that's going to be a big help also with teaching in the classroom. So yeah, it's going real good.
And I got to meet you and Dennis face to face. I finally got to meet y'all because I only saw y'all on social media. You came and we got to go out and all of that. So that was a really good week.
I feel like I need to come like right now because I need a break.
Hey, you can come anytime. Anytime.
My husband keep asking, when are we going back to visit Chin?
You just let me know. I'm waiting. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just let me know. So anything else you want to leave on with, Savannah?
Let's see.
How do you feel being a school owner versus a stylist or an instructor, or how do people look at you or treat you or whatever?
I be in school, I be in my building all day, so I don't really get to see people that much. But when I do go out, it does feel like I've accomplished a lot. You feel very accomplished. Your mindset is totally different. You look at things in a different way. You make decisions differently because you got people's lives in your hand now. That's mainly on you. And so their career is basically in your hands. So you look at everything from a different scope. And I'm always trying to stay up on the latest trend, the latest news that's out there when things are updated, because I want to make sure I keep my students updated also. But people do look at you a little bit differently. And you got some that'll look at you and what they call throw shade because you have a school now. And but I don't, as far as my attitude, I'm the same person, but my family, I do have some family members that look at me differently. I might not hear from them, I guess it's a little jealousy thing, I don't know. But they'll get over it. But they do look at you a little bit differently. I feel so accomplished. I don't even know what to say. My husband does too, because he's just as much a part of it as I am. And he tells me all the time, Savina, well, he calls me Doll. He said, Doll, I am so proud of you. You did exactly what you've been dreaming of doing ever since I married you. And come February 7th, we'll be married 31 years.
31 years, that's a long time.
Yes. So I'm loving it. I mean, you know what? It's different from me working for somebody else. When I come home every day, it's like, man, it's like, I'm ready to go back to work. You have that drive because that's your own now. And I'm so glad I purchased my building because my rent is so much cheaper than if I was leasing. And the Lord just kind of happened to work that out for me that way. That's not always the best way to go. And I really didn't want to buy, but that was my cheapest way out. And so I wouldn't advise anybody to purchase a building if you're going to be spending out a whole lot of money. But my rent is like way lower than what I would be paying if I was leasing. So I am just having a good time in my school. I really am. You got to come see it, Chin. You got to come personally.
I'm going to come. Do y'all have an airport down there?
We do. It's in Hattiesburg. We do have one in Hattiesburg, but you'll probably wind up.
How far is the drive?
The drive from the airport to where I am is probably going to be about 25 minutes.
Okay.
20, 25.
I'm going to start making my rounds to the schools later on this year.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come. But you got to come back here too.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. I will.
Okay. Well, tell everybody the name of your school. Let me show that, Savina. Tell them the name and how they can find you and follow you.
Hair Station Studio, College of Beauty.
Okay, so y'all make sure y'all follow Savina. And if anybody forgets anything on here, just email millionairebarber@gmail.com. So Savina, thank you for coming up, sharing it. Hopefully y'all learned something. If y'all learned anything, put a 1 in the chat if y'all learned something. Let me see. They got some questions. Savina, did you want to answer them?
Yeah, they can. I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, because I didn't know they were asking you questions. Let's see. Does your school have to charge a certain amount in order to receive financial aid? No. When you get ready to start receiving financial aid, right before that, you want to probably go ahead and raise your tuition. That's what most school owners do. Somebody said, have you used or suggested any specific payment plan options? Amber asked that.
I did. What I did was I gave them an option to pay in full. If you can give me your email address, I can send you a copy of it. If you can give it to Chin, he can send it to me. And because I can't remember exactly everything, but one is half down, and then I'll spread it out over the 50 weeks or however long it takes to go through the program. And then the lease that I have is $1,235 down. And that's basically just paying for their kit and their books. And then I'll spread the rest of that fee over the 50 weeks. Because in Mississippi, they have to go to school for at least a year They can't finish in like 9 months. So I just spread it out over 50 weeks. And usually if they do the $1,235 plan, that's like $541, $519, I think, or 41, something like that, dollars a month. And they're paying it. They're paying it on time every month. So you may say, oh, that's a lot, but those kids, I call them kids because they're all young, their parents they're paying that money. I tell you, it's just like going to a private school pretty much. And one thing that helped me with this is, I've been on a lot of Zooms, and I always hear school owners on the Zoom saying, some school owners may say, their students may not have the money and they can't pay. And that could be true, depending on demographics and everything. But when I was hearing that, I soaked up everything so I can know what to pray about. So one of my prayers was, okay, Lord, when I open this school, I need my students to pay. I got to pay my bills. So I can't get financial aid. So I need them to pay. And I prayed that my students will be able to pay their tuition. And that was my confession the whole time. Every time I go on a Zoom, that's my confession, that my students pay their bill. And they do. And if a person have a problem with paying, let's just say I may have somebody that can't get it that on the 15th, but it may be the next day. I say, you can bring it the next day, but if you don't have it tomorrow, don't come to class. And that usually works. It usually works. I find that when you tell students, if you give them leeway with anything, they're gonna run with it. Hey, she said I had 120 hours to miss. I'm gonna miss every last one of them. So you just have to put it in a way where it makes them not feel like they got so much leeway, and hold them responsible for paying their bills and being on time. I won't even let my students clock in if they are not at class on time, unless they've called me and, given me a situation or something. They have to wait till the first break to clock in. And a lot of them don't want to do that. So I don't really have a problem with my students being tardy. So it sounds harsh, but it works.
Amber asks, are you allowing students to join at any time? Do you have continuous enrollment? How do you do that?
I am, simply because I don't have financial aid. And what I'm trying to do, my reasoning behind it, and it's worked, I tell you, it's worked because I just had 2 to start, but everybody else started in July or August. So I got 2 girls that started. So what I do is when I have a slow day on the clinic floor, and when I send them videos of presentations of chapters that the other students already been through, I'll put a PowerPoint together and of chapters that they missed, and I'll actually be talking on the video so they can actually hear me, so it sounds like I'm lecturing them. And then I hold them responsible by saying, okay, when you come back tomorrow, I'm going to give you a pop quiz on the lecture that I sent you, so I can make sure you're paying attention and listening. And that actually helps to catch them up where everybody else is. And I don't have to let them cycle back through that later on. It's like, I'm kind of doubling up on them to make sure they can get caught up good, because I want them to be able to work on the clinic floor. I want to keep the money going on the clinic floor. So that's why I'm taking students in all the time until I hit my 20. And so by the time my July class graduate, I will still have students there that's able to work on clients. I don't ever want to shut my clinic floor down.
How did you build up your clinic floor? You want to share that?
Yeah, my clinic floor, before I even opened the school, I was doing a lot of videos on Facebook and Instagram, mostly Facebook, because that's where I was getting all the attention from. And so I was just putting it out there when we were going to open the clinic floor and everything. And I'll do videos and I'll act. Well, I wasn't really acting excited. I was excited, but when I do my videos, I'm smiling, I'm talking like I'm excited. And I ran a special, people like discounts. So we're doing like a manicure pedicure special now. And I tell you, it seems like that's all we're doing right now is manicure pedicure. But I think we did $600 one week just off manicures and pedicures from the $25 special. So I run specials. I make the people in the community feel like they can come and it's affordable. And that's what we've been hearing. And they tell us that it's affordable to come here. So I run different specials and stuff to get the, when I see that it's slow, I'll tell my daughter, the one that had the baby, she's my office manager. And I say, okay, I need you to create a flyer in Canva and I need you to put it out there because we need to get some business in here. I'm telling you, time she put that flyer out, we get, I don't know how many phone calls and we're booked up for the week. So it's a lot of just staying present on Facebook and Instagram is what's doing it. And that's how I built my clientele. I really didn't have to work hard for it because we kept putting it out. And then the students will, you know, they like for you to brag on them. I brag on my students when they do a great job. And so, and I'll post their work out there so that people can see it. And that's how a lot of them been getting clients by, I don't know if anybody know what chi transformation is, but we do chi transformations at the school. And we did one young lady and her silk out was so silky. We got 4 more chi transformations off that. And that was $80 a pop. In a salon, you would probably pay $150 to $200, maybe $250. So right now I can't keep the chi transformation in the school because people are just coming to the school to get it. So I said, maybe I need to raise that price. But in our area, it's about, you'll pay about $250 for it. So that's what I did. I just, hey, a chi educator on there, I see. Yeah, I took the class years ago and got certified to use it. I don't think they do the class now to certify people, but I'm teaching my students how to do it the correct way, and we're staying busy. But you got to advertise on your clinic floor. You got to advertise. Do a lot of live videos. When you're actually out on the clinic floor, we do a lot of live videos with our students just working and me standing there teaching. I TikTok with them. You know, God knows I don't know how to TikTok, but they have me doing little crazy stuff with Snapchat. I don't know if you've seen the video of me with the cowboy hat on saying, come to Hair Station Studio, you know, just acting crazy and people come out. So, yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm blessed, man. I just feel so blessed, and I give all the credit to the Lord because it's all him. And just, I mean, there's been times, I ain't gonna lie, where it seemed like, Lord, if you don't come through, I don't know how we're gonna pay this bill. And boom, just like that, before it happened, the Lord would have made a way. And I'll share this with you guys. Out the blue, I had a parent to come to me, and he just kind of told me some stuff that since his daughter been in the school, he was just kind of telling us that she's been the happiest in her life. He's never seen her like that. She's been happy. She enjoys coming to school. He's seen a 100% turnaround with her just because she's been, he said, since she's been around you, he said, I am so glad you put this school here because it made a difference. And then he donated $2,000 to the school. So I waited till he left, and I went in the closet and I just jumped up and down and I, you know, had my little praise party in the closet. So he wouldn't think I was looking crazy, you know. And that was a right on time because it was like, okay, Lord, I need you to come through because we got this we have to take care of. And God did it. Just like it happened today. It happened today. He came through. So, you know, so I'm just blessed. Yeah, I'm just blessed. I try not to stress myself. This was one thing I made up in my mind years ago. And a lot of people, I tell my testimony because I'm not too embarrassed to tell my testimony because years ago, my husband and I, we had to file bankruptcy own a business, a hair salon. And I tell that testimony because people don't know where we came from. They just looking at where we are. But the struggle was real. The struggle was real, I tell you. So we filed bankruptcy. Nobody, but they look at our lifestyle, and nobody never knew because we didn't accent, we didn't look like something was going on. We just kept going like life is good. You know, nobody ever, they can't ever just look at us and read us and tell what we're going through. And that's the way it should be. And so I always say, Lord, I know it won't always be like this. I'm tired of living from paycheck to paycheck, you know, and barely getting by. But God. And one thing I made up in my mind, I am not going to stress over finances. I'm just not going to do it. Either God is God. You say you're going to take care of me, then that's what I trust. I pray about it and I go on. I don't worry about how I'm gonna make it to 3 years until I get financial aid. I just trust God that He will provide. That's all I can do. Can't get blood from a turnip. So we worry about, instead of worrying about it, just think about the positive. And that's what you have to do. You have to stay focused and think on the positive things, because if you dwell on the negative too long, you'll find yourself shutting your school down, because you'll be like, I can't do this for 3 years. I can't make it. I can't do this. What motivates me is I look at every school that's open and I said, if they did it, I can do it. They went through the same thing I went through and they're still open, you know. But if anybody out there know any resources, you know, I can get to help, that's cool too. You know, I am getting financial, vocational rehab though for my students, some of the students. So.
And you've endured a lot though, Savina, because a lot of people have transitioned in your family, a bunch.
Yes. My grandmother passed away. Before she passed away, her son passed away, which was my uncle, the same week. We didn't tell her because we knew that would just take her out. And she died that same week. And then my aunt, which was my grandmother's daughter, just passed away a couple of months ago with cancer. She didn't even know she had it. Her and my mom went to Chicago because that's where my mom is from. And they went to visit my uncle there. That's where I'm originally from. And they had to turn around and come back because they had COVID. And when they came back, her COVID, she never really got over the COVID. So she went to the doctor and that's when she realized, that's when they told her she had cancer and she passed away from that. And then my cousin, just recently, a principal at a high school, what happened, he had a heart attack in his car and he had an accident and died. So yeah, it's been a lot going on with that. And so I just have to just keep my family in prayer, and just let the enemy know. I mean, you got to take your hands off my family. You just got to take your hands off my family. But everything that happens in life negatively, to me, I look at it as it's meant for a distraction from the enemy, because what his goal is to have you so distracted that he keep you off focus, off your goals and plans that the Lord has originally for you. And if he can get you off focus, he can get you. And so I'm just not going to get off focus. Somebody said, how long did you need to be open? Oh, I didn't have to be open long. I mean, they gave me my students got vocational rehab. 2 of them got it when they started. So if they have a disability and they have doctor proof and everything, vocational rehab will pay for their total tuition, books, uniforms, everything.
In some states, I don't know what, most states say 2 years. I don't know, maybe a law has changed or something, but most of the states are requesting 2 years to be open for that. Even
with the VA, I have a student on a VA loan or whatever it is, something through the VA. She just signed up. And I didn't think I can get that like right away.
Do you want to put your email up, Savannah, in case
you can
reach out? What's your email?
hairstationstudio@gmail.com.
Okay, I just put that in the chat, y'all, for everybody. If y'all forget it, just reach out. Anything else you want to share, Savannah?
I'm sitting here thinking. I can't really think of anything else. You have anything else? If you have anything.
No, I mean, you covered a lot. You shared a lot. I don't know if somebody asked how much is your tuition?
$7,735, and I have 2 students that's already paid in full. I don't know much about the VA because these people, the ladies, the people are signing paperwork for her, and they just went on and cut a check for her, but they hadn't gotten in touch with me, so I don't even know how that works yet. But I told her to get me the information so that I can see if I need to be a vendor, because I know with vocational rehab, I had to just become a vendor and get a magic number. And then they started depositing. They direct deposit the checks into my account when they drop the payment. So I just got one today. You have to, fill out the paper to authorize that, and they drop the payment through pay mode. So, but I don't know much about VA yet.
Okay. Are you using a program to keep track of student services performed in hours?
I use Discovery Pro, that program I showed you when I was at your house. I use Discovery Pro on cosmetology software. I pay $795 a year for that program, and it keeps up with your SAT reports. It does a lot. Attendance, my attendance report, I don't have to sit there and calculate the time. They clock in every morning. You can put a webcam on it and take a picture, so it'll snap their picture when they clock in, so they won't be, using somebody else's ID number. Yes, it keeps up. It has an appointment book in there, and you can key in the time or how long a service should take, so you can gauge the time it's taking your students to do that service. It has inventory. You can key in your inventory and keep up with your inventory in there. You put your school data in there, student data, theory grades, practical grades to give you competencies that you can key in to keep up with their practical grades. Yeah, it's been a lifesaver. So, and that's Online Discovery Pro. Let me see if I can pull it.
I'll give them that 1-800 number.
Yeah, Miss Connie is who I deal with, Connie Harper. I think she will probably be the one that you talk to.
All right, I put that in the chat for y'all, that 1-800 number. So y'all can write that down or screenshot it, take a picture of it.
Yeah, it's American Software. It's by American Software for Discovery Pro cosmetology software. And I've been using that for maybe 5 years. And I print off my time reports. I print off your transcripts if anybody needs a transcript. It gives you different reports. Tennessee, as a matter of fact, Tennessee is on they have their state reports on there on how you report to the state. It's pretty good.
Okay. Well, you shared a lot, and I gave a lot of valuable information. So hopefully y'all learned some stuff.